Hey everybody, I'm here with David Inglis to talk about your standard deck for the tournament, Esper Midrange. What a powerful deck you've brought. Can you talk to me about why you chose this deck for the tournament?
Yeah, it's, new standard format, just banned, don't really know what people are going to play, so just looking to play the most proactive deck in the format. A lot of good threats, asking a lot of questions of your opponent, and just hoping they don't find the right answers.
I love that, and this deck certainly does that. Let's take a look at the 2-drops that you have here. In this deck, the power is already evident. I wanted to focus though on Denick, Pious Apprentice. You've got a full 4 of this in this deck despite it being legendary.
Right, most people aren't playing 4, it is legendary, but in this format it actually just does everything you want. It's a 2/3, so it blocks the Fable of the Mirror Breaker token, doesn't die to Blood Tithe Harvester. It also stops Corpse Appraiser, which is a really threatening card for this deck. It has lifelinks, you can pump it up with Rafine and race really well, and it's a legend, so the Plaza of Heroes protects it in the late game.
Let's talk about Tenacious Underdog as well as part of your 2-drop suite. I personally love this card. Talk to me about its role in this deck.
Yeah, it's like I said, this deck's trying to be aggressive, so this card, it's a 3/2, it attacks really well, it wears the Rafine counters really well, but also if you're, get stalled out, you can grind really well. You discard it to Rafine, you bring it back later in the game, keep drawing cards, keep the gas flowing, keep applying pressure to your opponent.
Let's move on to your 3-drops because that's where this deck really shines. The reason for the season, Rafine, Scheming Seer here in this deck. The deck is built around this card, right? Right,
Rafine, is the best card in this deck. We're really trying to maximize Rafine with the whole 9 2-drops, which is, more than you would play in most decks. Rafine with Ward is really hard to kill, really hard to interact with profitably. If you can play a 2-drop and attack, sometimes even before your opponent's able to remove it, you've still gotten your value. You're really putting them on a back foot in a awkward spot.
And Wedding Announcement, the full 4 of this card too. I'm a huge fan of Wedding Announcement. What's this card's role?
Yeah, it's just kind of a powerful card. It was really good in limited. People realized, hey, it's really good in constructed too. It's just a ton of value. 3 2/2s for 3 mana, or you're drawing some cards, whatever you need to be doing. It buffs up the rest of your creatures. You're already trying to play a lot of creatures because of Rafine, so it just slots really nicely into the deck.
Moving on to the heavy hitters, I feel like we've already talked about heavy hitters, but we've got some more heavy hitters in this deck. Sheoldred, the Wandering Emperor, 2 absolute all-star cards, and then Ao the Dawnsky. Talk to me about the inclusion of this card specifically.
Last format, Vanishing Verse was really popular. You just couldn't play Ao, but with rotation, it's gotten a lot better. You can't really deal with it, and if you do manage to kill it, then, like you said, I've got 6 premium 4-drops. This deck has better 4-drops than any other in the format, so Ao helps you find those on the way out.
Awesome. The card just seems like a house. Let's talk about your interaction here. You've got a great suite. I want to highlight Make Disappear. You have 2 of that card. What's that card's role?
Yeah, that's just kind of keeping people honest. Sometimes you do lose the die roll and your opponent has, a Fable of the Mirror Breaker, a really premium card you have to answer. So Make Disappear just gives you outs to answer that. Your opponent has to respect it a little with open deck lists. They know it could be coming, so it just sort of slows your opponent down, gives them pause.
Keep them afraid. I like it. Absolutely. And Destroy Evil to get Fable.
Yes, Fable, very evil card, very feared card. Also kills Sheoldred, so it's really flavorful in this deck.
Great interaction suite. Now I want to talk about something that is really interesting in this deck. Normally the lands aren't that interesting, but here you have this suite of utility lands. Talk to me about these.
This was a big draw to this deck for us. We noticed we were playing all these mid-range mirrors with, maybe Grixis, Jund. When the games go late, those decks just flood out, but this deck gets to play so many more utility lands, so it's really poised to play well in the long game. You have the Plaza protecting your legendaries. You have all these channel lands that you get discounted. You can play, channel a 1-mana Otawara, a 1-mana Iganjo because you have so many legendaries. So you're actually just getting good value. They're just good spells in the deck, but also, just extra lands help you cast things.
I love it. That's so interesting. You said you wanted to ask the questions, not to be the one having to have the answers. This deck certainly asks some very tough questions of its opponents. David Inglis, Esper Midrange, thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria.